can kill me, but you will never destroy me. It takes strength to resist the dark side.
Throughout heaven and earth, I alone am the honored one.
Are you kidding? Why the hell should I wait for you?
I know what it's like to try and rebuild a life. I had a bad day too, once.
If you're having nightmares, then welcome to the club. My name's Subaru Natsuki, and I am the Knight of Amelia.
Right now, all I can give you is just death.
It wasn't for you in particular.
You fought 100 men because it's not in your nature to run away.
If you are feeling disheartened, that you are somehow not enough, set your heart ablaze.
And welcome back to this glorious shit show. I am Crimson Law. And today I've got plenty of things to talk about. Some big, some that are going to be like long topics, and others that can just be considered really just passing references. Small things, little stories I'm excited about. But I think the biggest thing to celebrate is the fact that like anime and manga's version of all of the like retards who want to hijack comics and entertainment are getting their asses kicked right now. It's awesome. But we'll get into that later. So I have not had time. I normally would start with a little bit of recap talking about stuff I've watched, but I have not had time to watch anything other than The Last Airbender, which was miserable, Attack on Titan, which was awesome, and do a tiny bit of catch up between publishing my season 2 review of Attack on Titan and doing this live stream. So I don't really have much to talk about on that front. I could talk about like, okay, Frieren was Frieren this week, and Frieren was Frieren for a couple of episodes. Would be a more accurate way to state it. Or some of the other random things I've tried out, but I don't know. It's like not the big. Oh, actually, there is one thing I did really like reading this week. I finished the whole Dark Knight Returns set that I bought, and that was a really good comic book. I liked those. I shouldn't say comic book. They were really good comic books. There's 4 of them. And now I need to go watch the animated movies for those, because that was fun. That was a good experience. Not something you get very often anymore with Western entertainment. But as long as we're on the topic of comic books, thank you. You're in the minority apparently, because I'm getting ratioed to hell and back on the Atla thing. The fans who are watching it the people who are watching it do not seem to like the fact that I'm calling it out as trash. But yes, you were right. The Dark Knight Returns all the way through I read through the Dark Knight Falls all the way up to like the end of that little like set I got. Good comic book, good storyline, and I gotta get to reading some more of my Batman stuff. But back to what I was saying. Speaking of comics, I do have 2 projects this week that I wanted to spotlight, and the first one I wanted to cover because it really reminds me of something that I grew up on. So let me pull this up. So I found this via A Drink with Crazy, and to be honest, I think it looks pretty similar to the old DCAU projects with the art style and stuff. Now, obviously, this is just like the beginning. So this is Super Galactic Fantastic Dimension, and the book is already available, so you can literally go pick this up. So I mean, they have their description here: venture into a dimension of wondrous sights and timeless lore, where throughout the vastness of space, science and fantasy intersect, where the mighty forces of good and the sinister forces of evil clash, and liberty is the ultimate prize. It's the amalgamation of the galactic, and the fantastic, and some small dick asshole is like revving his lifted truck right outside my house. I don't know if you heard that. But I mean the character design, let me scroll down to where they actually start talking about some of the characters. Feels a whole lot like just the Justice League cartoons to me. Which is obviously a good thing if you ask me, because the Justice League cartoons, the DCAU, ooh, it doesn't get much better than that for me when it comes to nostalgia. But I'm always looking for like some good superhero stuff, so I've dabbled. Oh, I didn't read this. So, in the far reaches of the unknown cosmos, the uncanny planet Illuvium is engaged in an ongoing conflict with the nefarious Ultradian Legion for the fate of the entire United Planetary System. So it basically feels like the futuristic. Oh yeah, here's the villain designs that I forgot to go over here. So overall, I do like their art direction. I kind of like the whole concept of we're gonna do like sci-fi superheroes. Which I won't say that this is like completely original to them or anything like that, but it's the first time I've seen someone be like, all right, we're gonna take a superhero setting and like put it in like the far, far future in outer space. But I want to see what they have to say about their story. At the heart of the conflict is the Silver Six, a league of elite undercover warriors who protect planet Illuvium from the shadows. With the support of the world's most advanced institute of science, Enzatech, they engage in a never ending battle for peace, justice, and liberty. As the conflict goes awry, little do they know that their trump card will come in the form of Gabriel, a young, aimless farmhand who dreams of excitement and romance in the distant megacity of Arteris. Okay. Now, right there is one comment I do want to make about that. That kind of like it feels like they're really setting him up to just be a black Superman, which I hope isn't the case, because just copying and pasting a character like that feels like you're robbing your own character of their uniqueness, of their own potential. Because this really does sound like Clark Kent. Farm boy, wants to go to the city, ends up becoming one of the most powerful heroes in the world. His mundane farm life is cut short after he ends up saving a young lady's life, accidentally unlocking latent powers in the process. Unbeknownst to him, Gabriel's action would send him cascading on a journey that would fully unlock his potential as the savior of the entire galaxy. The mighty hero Alphatron. I won't go that far yet, Pilgrim. I actually ordered this book, so I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna see if it actually does get woke. But my problem with it is the lack of originality in that. If you're just going to copy Superman, I feel like you've just robbed your character of anything unique. Now we'll see how they develop the character, how they develop the storyline and all that. But right now, I do actually I still get serious DCAU vibes with the artwork, the way they're like laying out the story, the descriptors they're using. So that has me intrigued. Story for all ages, yeah. So it's gonna be a lot like it's gonna be very similar to the DCAU. So yeah, that is you can find this over at fantasticdimension.com, and I'm going to take that link and just post it in the chat for anyone who wants to go check that out. And I will probably do a little bit of commentary on that when that book comes in, because I found it on I bought the copy through Amazon. It was a 60-page comic book. Yeah, actually, I think that is a good point right there. Oops. I'm so professional that my mic doesn't want to cooperate with me. There we go. It has. I mean, look at what like Marvel got memed for basically repeating the same formula over and over again, especially after Guardians happened. They tried to apply the Guardians formula to everything, and that lack of creativity, that lack of like differentiating different characters really did hurt the MCU and how people perceived things like Ragnarok and Love and Thunder, which I liked Ragnarok the first time through, but the more I thought about it critically, and the more I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Like, why would you take Thor, who's like a very serious character, which the only humor he's involved in is generally derived from the fact that he's just not of this world, and try to make him into like a Deadpool Guardians esque character, one who's goofy and quirky. I know you mean franchise, but I love what it did to the Francisco. Oh, yeah, it's I need to really get another one I've actually been reading. I have it open here on my desk is Project Nausis. This is one I covered on my channel a while back. I've been reading this and I have some thoughts that I'll actually go over on this. I like, as far as Project Nausis, I've heard it pronounced a couple of ways. As far as Project Nausis is concerned, I like the concept and I like the artwork for it. And the fact that like right out the gate they were talking like we're not going to do any resurrections or time travel or multiverses. If a character dies in the story, they're dead. That's how it works. There's no second chances, no extra lives. So that drew me in, plus the artwork. But right now, I feel like the dialogue writing is clunky. And it's kind of making it hard for me to really get into the story. Now, this is the book that I actually grabbed was all 4 parts of their story that they have out right now. So this is their volume 1. And it's the first 4 chapters of basically how like their speedster character turns evil and murders their version of the Justice League, takes over the entire planet, and a group of like super spies who have a superhero theorem injected into them to get powers, now have to like take their small team and like pick away at this speedster's empire to try and kill him. Yeah, yeah. Amazing what that does for a story, right? When characters can actually die. And yeah, it's like look, you can do time travel and you can do a multiverse. Those things aren't necessarily off the table, but it takes thought and creativity and some intention in order to make them not just lazy hackish tropes in a series. Like the big problem with the multiverse is obviously that it allows for too many characters to just die and come back. That is like the huge complaint about it. If you limit your multiverse to small things, I've seen a couple examples. Drinker makes a good case about how the multiverse can work. In The Dark Knight Rises or The Dark Knight Returns? Because I actually think I agree with you if you're talking about The Dark Knight Rises, where Batman sacrifices his life to take that nuke out of Gotham City. That would have been a good way to end that whole trilogy. Would have been a lot more impactful, especially since they weren't really going to do much more with that series. But I think they kind of wanted to leave it open-ended in order for there to be the possibility of more. Yeah, especially when you have a bunch of hacks writing comics. Both. Yeah, that was my one complaint about the Dark Knight Returns stuff, was that like Batman somehow like survives all of that. That was kind of goofy. I thought that was unnecessary. But hey, that's just me. One other project that I wanted to cover tonight, because this is one that actually the campaign ended before I started doing the indie highlight stuff, and I really like the idea of it. So share screen. So this guy decided he was going to do sci-fi manga. And here we have the Amarant Angels Second Chance campaign up on Indiegogo. Now, basically what he's doing here is he's making a whole like tankobon volume for this, and has his multiple variant covers like you would with a comic book. And I'll get into some of the commentary in a bit, but he has the synopsis right now right here. So Saya Nishizawa was a starfighter pilot prodigy, flying alongside her big sister Kurenai in the Amarant Angels Performance Squadron, where they conducted elaborate flying demonstrations and competed in mock battles, which they nearly always won. Things were perfect until tragedy struck and Kurenai lost her life in a sudden accident. Scarred by this, Saya wanted nothing more than to run as far from a starfighter cockpit as possible. So she resigned from the squadron, left Earth to start a new life at a new school on a space station near the edge of the solar system. However, fate has a way of forcing people back to their calling. When the station comes under attack by an unknown alien force, Saya and her friends, caught completely unprepared, need to fight in order to survive. But when the smoke clears, the 5 of them are stranded far from home and thrust into a far bigger fight than they could have ever imagined. Fly into action with the first 200-page volume. So that's about on par for your standard tankobon issue. And I have one right here. Usually, like, generally, they're entirely black and white. You might get a couple of art pages. And look, I like the concept. I like manga. So this is kind of like right in my wheelhouse. The only thing that I'm seeing... Sorry, what is this? It's a original sci-fi adventure manga done fully in manga style, including being drawn to be read from right to left. It's cute girls doing military things story in the vein of anime like Girls and Panzer, High School Fleet, the Magnificent Kotobuki, and Licorice Recoil is actually a really good one. This, yeah, so pretty stereotypical manga stuff. Oh, wait. The first 31-page prologue chapter is available to read free over at Webtoons. That's a preview. Okay. Interesting. Now, one of the things I'll point out before even getting into like some of the art stuff is I don't know how to feel about some of these ship designs. Like this one I kind of like, and this one over here I kind of like, but some of them are a little too eccentric for my tastes. But that's just a initial thought on that kind of stuff. If it will properly load. So backing this campaign, so Indiegogo does this thing where it's all or nothing. If it does fund, or sorry, it automatically has to sorry, I'm biffing my words here. So Indiegogo is set up to be a site where like you have to publish and like fulfill orders regardless of whether your campaign is funded or not. That is the risk with Indiegogo versus Kickstarter, where if the project does not fund, no money is ever withdrawn and nothing happens. So the reason that it seems that he chose Indiegogo for this is because he intends to fulfill these orders. He's just giving people a second chance to buy the books because he's already had one full campaign go for this. He's been working on it for months now. Where is their interior artwork example? So this is one of the things I do want to point out about the interiors. Some of it feels like generic. And what I mean by that is when I pick up a manga, I can here, let me see if I can remove that from the stage. I'll pull Don back out. So when I pick up something like Don, if I can show you, like it has a unique style, it has very detailed artwork. It is in and of itself stylized. It has its own unique look. However, with Amarant Angels, it feels like it's almost too clinical with the artwork. I'm still going to give it a shot because manga, indie project, it's something I respect. But what it gives me is the very, very generic romance manga art style, is what it looks like. The clinical, by the book, mass produced artwork. Because I feel like I've seen these like designs and stuff before. Like that almost looks like proper anime design there. And then you, of course, get into some of his other stuff that he's put up here. Point is, I see some things that might not fully live up to expectations, but I like the concept of it. I'm very interested in it, and I do think I will enjoy this regardless. So, if anyone is interested, I will copy the link. Oops, it's and post it here. And y'all can go check it out. I mean, for the first, another issue that I would say it has with this is it's like double the price of a normal tankobon. And the obvious reason for that is this is one person or two people doing this project versus an entire industry that has printing deals and all that. Which is when it comes to indie stuff, that's why I'm okay with paying more, because I understand that it is rough to get started, especially like and not have to rely on big publishers, because most big publishers can screw you over. They can mess with your artwork, they can, demand changes and all that. That's why I generally encourage shopping indie and or publishing indie, and why I'm okay with spending a little bit more for indie projects, because I know at the very least when it comes to indie projects, people are out there like really trying to make something that they're passionate about. Yes, this is kind of what I'm alluding to. A generic artwork will not hold a great story back, but a bad story will absolutely ruin amazing artwork. I'm just speaking from a very idealistic position on it to where I would like to have both great artwork and great story. But not everything can be Berserk. That said, I think it might be a good time to move into actually a topic related to Berserk. So, to anyone who isn't aware, Berserk is the single greatest manga ever created. And there is absolutely no doubt about that. The issue is we have never gotten a full, proper, good adaptation of it into anime. Now, we do have the 1997 version, which recently got a Blu-ray upscaling. And I totally pre-ordered that because, woo! The issue is the 1997 version only covers to the end. You didn't have to point that out for me. The issue with the 1997 version is that it only covers up to the end of the Golden Age arc. Which is the end of the eclipse, one of the most dramatic events in the whole story, and I won't go into detail on it because trying to describe what happens in the eclipse will probably get this thing taken off of YouTube and get me a strike. Yeah, but it's not a friendly story, but damn is it good. Let me pull this up. And a fan studio has been working on doing their own rendition of the series. So Studio Eclipse has released a new key art for Berserk the Black Swordsman. So Studio Eclipse has released a second look at Berserk the Black Swordsman, with the first trailer of the new anime series now also on the horizon. Yeah, that's another thing they alluded to. They'll be putting out a proper trailer for it soon. So I don't really need to go over this. It's just going to say that there's an image that post out that they wanted to share. So on their official Twitter account, if it'll load, they posted this and that. Let's see if I can pull this up and get a little bit better image of it. You're going to have to stick with me here because my internet is deciding it all of a sudden wants to be really, really slow. Why are you like this? Let's go here. Okay, share this tab instead. So here is the full, proper image. And that looks so freaking good to me. As compared to the 2016 version, that is leagues better. And notice I also use dark mode because I'm not a fucking heathen. Yes. You do know who I'm talking about. Stick it in a bag of rice. No, I need to close my windows around here because I'm letting the Wi-Fi out. But yes, I am really, really looking forward to this fan project. It's funny to me how much the fan projects tend to be like so much better than like a lot of these studio remakes that get put out these days. And Berserk is one of those anime that absolutely deserves a really, really good adaptation. Because, like I said, it is one of the best manga ever written. And rip Kentaro Miura. Too bad he wasn't able to finish his project, but a lot of people who worked closely with him on it have taken up the cause and are going to continue it based on notes and scripts he left behind after his sudden passing. I would play this Campfire of Dreams scene, but that would again get this channel taken down because there is someone out there pretending to be the company that currently owns the rights to Berserk, striking anyone who plays Guts' theme. But look, if you're ever looking for a really good dark fantasy comic series and you can handle like there's some really, really messed up stuff, by the way. Berserk is one of those stories that will break you. I highly recommend reading it, and you can pick up the giant ass versions that I got on my shelf over there. These ones, or this one up front, is about the size of a normal volume, and you can get it in bite-sized pieces of about 5 or 6 chapters at a time. The only issue is there's 41 of those. It's a long series. What's it about? The basic premise is that it's a group of mercenaries who are following their leader on his quest to basically have his own kingdom, and things go sideways during. I'll just say things go sideways, and the said leader ends up stabbing everyone in the back just for his own goals and ambitions. And the main character was like the best friend, closest ally, and he's one of the only survivors of that incident of the eclipse. And he's dedicated to eradicating all of the demons and monsters that Griffith has let out onto the world. Mostly he's dedicated to killing Griffith and trying to find a way to restore his lover's sanity. Absolutely, like, great manga. And I'll keep saying that until the fucking cows come home, okay? I will never stop saying that Berserk is great. And another great manga that actually is relevant to tonight's topics is Freerun. Like the absolute opposite of Berserk. It is like wholesome, like sugar in the veins kind of fantasy. Yes, actually, it is. It has some of like the greatest romantic themes you'll ever find in a manga. It's dude, the artwork for Berserk. I just look up like random Berserk panels if you ever get a chance. They are insane. And the storytelling, the like themes and all that stuff, I love this story. I love Berserk. But back to Freerun. I had a good transition, you ruined it. So Freerun Beyond Journey's End prequel announced. Now this is something that anime and manga fans have been screaming about, because this story picks up after like the climactic final battle of the world. So basically Freerun and her group defeat the big bad evil guy and they return home, and that's the beginning of the story. And from there, it is a whole like series about like reflection and learning to like appreciate the small moments in life. But people have been clamoring on and on, like we want to know about Frierin's journey with Himmel, the hero who defeated the Demon King. We want to know what that whole thing was like, and they have officially announced that Mei Hachimoku is going to be writing a novel prequel that contains 5 stories that focus on some of the big characters, Frieren, Fern, Stark, and then I don't get why they're focusing on Lawine and Kane, because they literally only appear for like a very small portion of the manga during the first class mage examination. So a lot of people, I think we were more interested in finding out about these 4 rather than about some of the other characters. We kind of already know what happens to Fern and Stark in their childhood and why they're traveling with Frieren. We get a lot of glimpses back to like how Frieren learned magic, how she came to travel with the heroes party, and how she ended up, saving the world with them. So I don't really think people are looking for like this deep background story into all the characters. They want to know like we want to see more of Himmel. He's one of the most popular characters in the series, and he's dead after like the first episode. He only appears in flashbacks after that. But yeah, this series is like, I'm looking forward to this. I'm going to read this because I'm a huge fanboy for this manga and anime. Again, like I said, it's the opposite of Berserk, to where if you want something that's like relaxing, very enjoyable, and still has really good combat and action sequences, this would be the pick. It's pretty much breathed new life into the fantasy, anime, and manga scene. Because before that, we didn't really have a whole lot going. So it's nice to see that we have a couple, like 2, with the return of Berserk, we have 2 really good fantasy entries on opposite sides of the spectrum. Just alternate between them. One's really dark and depressing and like heart wrenching, and the other is just like wholesome, reflective, happy. Let me pull up some of my other smaller topics before I really get into. Oh, I can pull up this one, because the title of tonight is that manga and anime are absolutely winning. And right now I've kind of been going over some of these small wins and stuff. So I will pull up one that I absolutely think needs to be covered tonight, because it kind of shows exactly where the whole cultural battle is, and how people are viewing mainstream entertainment. Share screen. Demon Slayer to the Hashira training destroys US box office with major milestone. Now, let's put this into perspective right off the bat. This isn't some like $450 billion movie like Mugen Train was. Okay? This made a couple million in the box office, but considering they are also going to be releasing this as part of like the actual upcoming season of Demon Slayer, they're not looking to drive a ton of money with this. It doesn't need to be this huge financial success, because really all they did, they're going to recoup a lot of the money from just putting this into the theaters via streaming. via streaming, via Blu-ray sales, but this is just another way for Ufotable to make money. So on February 2nd, 2024, the anime movie Demon Slayer to the Hashira Training was released in Japan. By February 23rd, 2024, it had already been released in nearly every country in the world. It is an explicit continuation of Demon Slayer's third season. It includes the Swordsmith Village and Hashira Training chapters from Kyoharu Gotoge's manga series. And now, personally, when it comes to Hashira Training, I wasn't really the biggest fan of the arc. It felt like a lot of like flexing and not a lot of doing anything. But that's generally what like training arcs are. So it additionally serves as a compilation movie featuring the last episode of season 3 and the first episode of season 4, which will be out later this year. Howdy, Black. Nice to see you. On its opening weekend, the film was a box office hit in the United States. With a strong opening weekend, the film took second place at the box office. I believe it was only behind Bob Marley. The movie has also indicated the hype around the Hashira Training arc of the Demon Slayer series, which holds major importance in the overall storyline of the series. Yeah, because it really just explains the marks. It explains the breathing marks and sun breathing. It not only brings the series closer to its conclusion, but also marks the beginning of the biggest battle in the entire Demon Slayer series. Yeah, okay. So basically why people are hyped about this is what it's saying, is because they really want Infinity Castle, which is absolutely fucking bonkers. And if they do an Infinity Castle movie, I will go see that, but I don't want to go see this one in theaters. That's interesting. 5 anime that will scar you with only the first episode. Yeah, Oshinoko will fuck you up with the first episode. One of the most brilliantly executed sucker punches in all of fiction, if you ask me. Funny that Akasaka is a romance writer, and he managed to fucking gut you with some of the most brutal storytelling in the world. I shouldn't say brutal storytelling in the world. That's an exaggeration, a big exaggeration, but I think you get the point. It's rough. So, Box Office Mojo reports that Demon Slayer to the Hashira Training opened with 5.5 million USD on Friday, February 23rd. On Saturday, its earnings decreased to 3.5 million USD, and on Sunday, it only made 2.5 million. It presently holds the second position in the US box office with a total revenue collection of roughly 11.5 million USD from its opening weekend. Now, that is incredibly small until you put into perspective that this is roughly an hour and 20 minutes long and was made for TV originally. So its budget is probably really small. Only made 2.5 million. Yeah, I mean, look, the thing is, compared to other, it's been harmed a bit by the reputation of Ufotable to do stuff like this. When Mugen Train, the first Demon Slayer movie, came out, it became the biggest movie of 2021. It was, I think its box office was $450 something million for an animated movie. That probably cost a fraction of that, like less than 25% of that to make. So its overall collection to date on its home market of Japan is 9.8 million USD, while its global collection is estimated to be at roughly 28.2 million USD. The picture, which has a runtime of 1 hour and 44 minutes. Okay, interesting. Yeah, that's That's true. The last episode of the Swordsmith Village arc was like 70 minutes or something like that. It was obscenely long, and they do like to do their double, triple features to start Demon Slayer for whatever fucking reason. Sony Pictures releasing it to roughly 2,000 theaters. On the other hand, Toho and Aniplex released Demon Slayer 4 in Japan. So this shows that the craze for Demon Slayer has been rising ever since last year, as the third movie of the Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Swordsmith Village arc, which was released on March 2023, made 10.1 million in its opening weekend. I would argue that actually the hype for the series has been going up since the Entertainment District arc, which absolutely blew everything else out of the water that year. The fight between Tengen Uzui and Gyutaro was one of the best pieces of anime you can find out of shonen. It was certainly one of the greatest fight scenes I had ever watched up to that point. Still, though, if we're going to talk about like a movie that absolutely blew me away, Mugen Train. It had a really good like compartmentalized story, even though it like related to the whole of the series. It looked like visually it was spectacular. The music was amazing. I still have some of the score on my playlist to this day. Even the Samuel Kim covers. So yeah, the rising popularity of Demon Slayer, I think it has become one of the second generation big three. That and Jujutsu Kaisen right now would be the two I would put as like this generation's big three shonens. Close that out, open up a new tab. Why? Because he hasn't posted in like a year? Yep. Yeah, I feel that. I mean, the dude did his like stuff for Attack on Titan season 4 with the rumbling footsteps of doom. All of that was great, and then just disappeared. Let's see. I gotta pull up my So I have covered Demon Slayer, Frieren prequel, Berserk: The Black Swordsman. Yeah, it's hard to get away from Demon Slayer. It's getting up there with like cultural ubiquity, close to like Dragon Ball. You don't generally go anywhere without hearing about it. You could probably get away with not hearing about Jujutsu Kaisen or My Hero Academia, but Demon Slayer, it's getting up there. That's why I put it among like this generation's big three. Oh, that's another thing I can do. I can pull that up. Considering we're speaking of things that you just can't get away with not seeing. Let's go to YouTube. Let's see if I can get a YouTube video to work with my my stream this time around, because checking a text there. Let's see. Up here. Nope. Season 3 trailer. Yep, this looks like it. This is English subbed. Is this the official trailer? Okay. We'll go with this. That's the wrong button. Luckily, I didn't leave the fucking studio. I am so professional. Share screen. So, after years and years and years, One Punch Man Season 3 officially puts out a trailer. And this has been one that people have been looking forward to because Season 2 cuts the Monster Association arc really short, like halfway through. Did I say Season 1 or Season 2? Either way, it never got into like the full-on battle against Garo or Orochi or even get into like the god stuff. So finally, we have some actual material to work with other than just a poster of Garo and Saitama standing off against each other. Hopefully this will work.
彼はリミッターが外れていた。どんなに努力を重ねても生物の成長には制限が設けられている。強力すぎ。
So it's showcasing like the first fight that happens after the end of season 2, I think, here. Because I read this part in the manga. Because his hair has gone from silver to red. And he's fighting more monsters over the kid, I think.
いる力は持ち主に負担がかかり、不具合を生じさせる。あるいは品性を失った怪人のように暴走を起こす。
Okay, I'm liking it so far. I feel like it's, in some ways, I don't want to say pulling punches, but like it's not going as hard as it can. But I know just how insane Cosmic Garo versus Saitama is going to be to animate. So I'm wondering if they're going light on some of this earlier stuff, and they are going to make that fight one of the most insane bits of animation ever created. Yeah, don't ask me how it works, but his hair starts off silver and he has to fight his old master and his master's brother, and they absolutely beat the fucking shit out of him for like an episode. And yeah, it's... Okay, I actually like that. Okay, that looks clean. Stop it there because there's nothing stronger than a Japanese copyright lawyer. So I can take a drink and do some commentary. I like that it looks like they're not just going to like freeze frame it or loop animation. It looks like they're actually putting in efforts to give it choreography and all of that stuff. Motion, energy, make it feel like it's actually a fight scene. Not some like fairy tale bullshit where you watch Natsu wind up for half an episode screaming something stupid. Cheers. All this dialogue, by the way, is from... I don't know if it's going to be in this season or the season before, where they're talking... This is Saitama here, where they're talking about how he acquired his powers, how he broke his limiter, which meant he could, you know, get infinitely strong and all of that. It's weird how it works in One Punch Man. It's cartoon logic. Oh, I just noticed that the background music they're using is Garo's theme, too. They're probably going to have like a beat drop here or something soon. Okay, that works. That was not what the direction I expected the music to go, but I think I dig it. I think I like it. So they are. So it is fully in production now. Looks like the rest of that's going to just be their outro. I am excited for it because look, this project has been bouncing, or One Punch Man has bounced from studio to studio for a long time. I forgot who did the first season, then it jumped over to Shonen Jump to do in-house animation. Then it was given out to Mappa, and now it looks like it's been moved on to another studio, if I remember correctly. Yeah, JC Staff. That's the studio that's working on it now. I think it looks good. Might have liked to see a little bit more like loose animation in there because I like that stuff. The way they did Sukuna versus Mahoraga in whatchamacallit, Jujutsu Kaisen. But it's good. I think it looks really good, and I'm excited to see more One Punch Man because that show was just great. It's not like some like Lord of the Rings level of epic, but I do recommend watching it at some point. I guess it is time to move on to the two big topics that I have for the night. So I think I will bring up the culture war relevant one, which is stupid people fucked around and they found out real quick. Copy the link, take it over here, paste and go, present, share screen. So the anime streaming service Crunchyroll has decided that they are going to move into AI generated subtitles. Crunchyroll CEO says AI generated subtitles are definitely an area we're focused on. And now there's a lot of reasons for this. And like you can approach this from a ton of different angles, and I will get into that like as we go through the article. So Crunchyroll CEO Rahul Purini says AI generated subtitles are an area of focused testing for the streaming service, perhaps to the dismay of audiences. Now, I will say right off the bat, audiences are not generally dismayed by that because anime fans have long had a huge beef with localizers for the shit they do to more niche, less popular series. I mean, I covered the Lovely Complex dubbing scenario where the guy basically talked shit about the original, about how much he and his buddies improved it. And yeah, it is quite the event, and it's been going on for quite some time. So Crunchyroll CEO Rahul Purini says AI generated subtitles are an area that the streaming service is currently very focused on testing. We already read that. Perini sat down with The Verge for an hour-long interview where he discussed how Crunchyroll could become a more attractive option for anime fans. Yes, because piracy has been a very big thing. People do not want to pay Crunchyroll for many different reasons. One of which being their alleged doubling of subscription prices after shutting down Funimation and Funimation's digital libraries. So one solution was increased development of AI-generated subtitles, where Perini said AI is definitely something we think about a lot of different workflows in the organization. Right now, one of the areas we're very focused on testing is subtitling and our closed captioning, where we go from speech to text. How do we improve and optimize our process where we can get the subtitles done in various languages across the world faster so that we can launch as close to the Japanese release as possible? That's the big thing that is really driving this. And I will put this away for a second. Getting as close as possible to the Japanese release is one of the things they've been trying to do for a while, because obviously translation takes time, especially with like dubbing and all that. So the English translations, even with subtitles, can lag a couple weeks to like months behind the Japanese releases. Sorry, I had to yell at the idiot in the other room. Where was I? Right, Japanese releases. So they've been trying to match with the Japanese releases for a while, and now this is one thing that Kodansha has actually been getting on. They are releasing series that were drafted in English first, which means that the West, like English speakers, get manga at the same time as Japanese people. Very interesting. Because the West is a huge source of money for this industry right now. There's other things that go into this. There's also the issue of piracy. There is the belief that with more accurate and faster translation, piracy will go down, because a lot of people pirate just to be able to get what they want out of anime. They don't want like politically injected bullshit in their anime, which is something localizers have done. They do not want bad translations. They want things that are as in good faith and good quality as possible. But I digress. We'll get into some of this later. So that's definitely an area we are focused on. Perini's quotes arose during a conversation about how he hoped to make Crunchyroll more viable than piracy, which one of piracy's biggest selling points being that it's free and sometimes also releases content faster than official services. He highlighted that fan desire to access anime as close to the Japanese release as possible was the motivation behind the development for AI-generated subtitles. Naturally, AI subtitling proves contentious. Many anime fans were concerned about the low-quality subtitles in the Yuzuki family's Four Sons debut episode. A more niche anime, but it still does apply the point that machine translations can be clunky and weird at times, leading some to believe that they had been generated by AI. These subtitles were notoriously awkward, occasionally to the point of being nonsensical. English. That's what we call it, English. And featured numerous grammatical issues. Crunchyroll was forced to delete the episode following outrage by fans on social media, with many asking why they didn't pay professionals to do a better job. Many manga fans on social media also cite poor official translations as a motivator for piracy, with the United States being the #1 worst offender for piracy in the world. Yeah, because in America we like our entertainment like we like our country. Free. That's a fair point, but if you have good antivirus software, it's not so bad. I mean, I sail the 7 seas quite often. I know the sites that I use, and generally I don't have any problems with them other than like their server maintenance is shit at times. Excuse me. Plus, I can also watch cartoons, not just anime on there. So I could go watch Samurai Jack. I could go watch Powerpuff Girls, all the old Justice League stuff. I could watch the X-Men cartoon, which I do need to go and watch the original X-Men cartoon from 97. Because a lot of people talk about that one. It's just one I never really got into when I was growing up. But back to this. This conversation resurfaced following the arrest of 2 individuals in Japan for leaking early content of Weekly Shonen Jump manga. Let's pull this back up so I'm not acting like a complete mongoloid. With the rapid growth of AI translation, quality may certainly meet fan expectations in the near future. Nevertheless, many continue to argue that the nuance in language is best captured by human experience, creating a trade-off for Crunchyroll between cost and continuing to expand to the hundreds of millions of anime fans worldwide. So, sorry to pull that up just for a brief moment, but I can fix that in post. So here's the multiple aspects of the issue that I want to point out. One, fans don't actually like localizers. They have proven themselves to be a group of people who are just about as ideologically inclined to change shit in manga and anime as Marvel, DC, everyone else, Hollywood. So fans are kind of mixed on the idea of giving localizers the boot. I mean, we had the issue with Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. We've had the issues with a lot of these other more obscure ones putting in lines like, I believe the official dub for one of them was bitches, bros, and non-binary hoes or something like that. Was an actual line in one of them. So people who are sick of localizers doing their thing are excited to see that AI is going to replace them because FAFO. We all like FAFO. On the other hand, this issue of localizers going and doing their own thing and inserting their own agendas into these more obscure anime has given these companies a lot of leeway to boot them without any fan backlash. People are actually on the sides of corporations in this one in some cases. It's kind of funny. But then we come to like the actual quality issue. We come to like piracy, we come to translation quality, and we come to timeliness. And AI does have the advantage of possibly being able to do all of those things. I mean, you can have AI, be good faith, give you a good faith translation and one that's really close to the release. And that in and of itself would solve a good chunk of piracy. It would make things a lot more appeal. It would make people like more likely to go for the official versions and to actually pay for these subscription services. That's what these companies are looking for. They only care about the money at this point. Now, obviously, there is the big issue like Crunchyroll with what they did with the money they were receiving that they said they were going to give to animators. Well, we saw how that went. We saw how they did their shit with X Arm and High Guardian Spice. Those were not well received projects. People were pissed that Crunchyroll was using their money that way. So we have no idea whether Crunchyroll is actually interested in giving us quality stuff, or if they're just looking at the money and thinking, hey, maybe we might be able to eke out a little bit more from these people if we cut our localizers. And look, I don't generally like to sit here and gloat about people losing their jobs, because that's fucking rough. However, FAFO, they decided they wanted to not only disrespect the source material, but the fans of said source material by trying to change it, and in their hubris, they thought they could do better. Well, look where that's gotten you. Generally, what they end up doing is adding a bunch of stuff people don't like. One of the things I think anime fans have proven is that you can have a medium of entertainment that just doesn't dabble in politics much, and a lot of people will come flocking to it because it's just pure escapism. That is why it's become so popular, because it's just pure escapism. And that can like bleed on in over to the issue of things going mainstream and all that. But that's another topic for another time. There are some people I wouldn't mind if they lost their jobs. Same. Hell, I wouldn't mind if the current administration lost its job. Just saying. There is one other article that I do need to cover on this topic, though. So I'm going to pull that up now before I move on. We go over to Bounding into Comics. Present. Share screen. So here, we pretty much have what I'm talking about. So Persona series English localizer decries recently fired Lovely Complex dub writer, not for bad work, but for proving culture warrior weirdos right. She's basically pissed that they got caught. Some dude couldn't keep his mouth shut, and they got busted for doing dumb shit. In further proving that the Western anime industry cares more about huffing up their own in-group image than actually doing their jobs properly, prominent public-facing Japanese to English localizer Katrina Leonidakis, is that how that's pronounced? It's right here, Katrina Leonidakis. That's what I'm has declared that, like many, she is unhappy with the recent revelation that a now former Lovely Complex dub writer intentionally butchered the anime's entire narrative for ideological reasons. But unlike the masses, her issue lies not with the blatant disrespect to the original work, but the fact that the entire situation has given validation for many criticisms of quote-unquote culture warrior weirdos, i.e. regular fucking anime fans. Now, keep in mind, this was a niche romance anime. It wasn't some like big name shonen. As previously reported, following his publishing of a lengthy manifesto in which he bragged about how he definitely hated the series and went out of his way to alter its entire narrative, from changing character personalities to turning a feminine male into a transgender woman, Discotheque fired Lovely Complex localizer Brendan Jello Apocalypse Blaber from their roster of in-house translators. Frankly, having the dub come out this good in the end is a little frustrating, bragged Blaber in the Patreon post, which led to his firing. Anyone who watched this show as a kid has fond memories of it and revisits the dub will think, wow, it's just as good as I remember. No, it isn't. We made it good. This show sucked. Hey, does that sound like a lot of the Hollywood writers we hear about these days? Does that sound about right? About on par with the people who made Avatar? Who have done all this MCU bullshit? I slurred my words. I meant to say MCU. I swear I'm not that drunk. This is all I've had to drink tonight. However, rather than condemn Blaber for his absolute failure to properly do his job, Leonidakis, I still struggle to pronounce that name, who many may remember for either her work as a localization coordinator on the recent current gen ports of Atlus's Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden, or for proudly boasting about how she ran roughshod over High Dive's English subtitles for My Life as Inuka-san's Dog, instead chose to chastise him culture war weirdos who regularly chastise her industry's ideological graffiti. Now, look, I do not care what the fuck they did to the degenerate ass dog anime. And if you want to know what this one's about, a chick wants to fuck her dog. Yeah, look, I love anime, but it is not devoid of its absolutely awful shit. And that is by far like one of the most degenerate, like right up there with Redo of Healer. So, taking to Twitter on February 12th to share her opinion on the matter, the localizer began, excuse me, do I know it's in my best interest to not say anything about this bullshit? Yes. Oh, pardon me. Sorry. Is anything I write only going to be taken the wrong way by culture war weirdos? Obviously. So I'll say this. You aren't going to love everything you work on, but it's your job to do justice to the work and its audience and remain professional about it all. And for fuck's sake, don't shit where you eat. You've hurt a lot of careers today. Further proving that she cared only about the further proving that she only cared why am I biffing this? Further proving that she cared only about the realities of her industry being made public and not the fact that her peers as a whole have lost the plot when it comes to their jobs. Leonidakis then lamented, every time you give the culture war weirdos fuel, you make things worse for the people they harass. Not only are you out of a job, said the localizer, but you've given them a brand new reason to send us death threats. Oh, fucking bullshit! Are you getting death threats? Maybe one or two. But you're acting like this is the reality of the whole thing. Well, I fucking doubt it. Things that didn't happen for like $80, please. But then someone has to fire back at them, Leonidakis then declared. Someone has to get the last word. Someone has to prove to them they're wrong, and they all get new fodder to harass us all again. I grew up on 4chan. I watched them milk lol cows. I know how this shit works. And now this? Really? She continued in her protestations. You know they're still using that single scene from Dragon Maid dub nearly a decade later as a reason why we should all be lynched, right? Shut the fuck up. What do you think they're going to do with this, idiot? Finally, bringing her thread to a close, Leonidakis concluded, anyways, I'm sure they'll be here shortly to tell me why I deserve to get hate or slurs or death threats because, check Fox News article, I translated Gyaru as bimbo. Right? Yeah, I know. Remember, local comrades, they don't give a shit about translation. She then disingenuously claimed they just want to be mad at the libs. Says the person throwing a fucking bitch fit over things that didn't happen because you got called out for doing stupid shit. That's the end of the article. See, this is why I don't feel so bad about these people losing their jobs. Because the moment you want to sit there and be like, okay, well, maybe not every localizer is bad, they start saying shit like this. Talking about how it wasn't the changes that were the problem. She never mentioned the fact that, okay, well, maybe he was wrong to make those changes. All she railed on was the fact that he ruined things for everyone else. She was pissed that he stepped on the landmine that exposed everyone else for being the same. So, yeah, you didn't even address the issue that people were talking about. And you want to know why we bring up the Dragon Maid dub over and over and over again? To fucking drive home the point, because it was never apologized for. In fact, the chick who did it doubled down when Asmongold covered it. She said that Asmongold was sending hate after her. And look, I think Asmongold's a bit of a retard in and of himself, but he does he can have some good takes that I've seen. That aside, the localizer who did the dub still to this day believes she was right to change that line. Now look, you don't have creative license to alter someone's writing or dialogue just to fit your ideological bullshit. And then also claim that you did it better. That's not how this works. You don't get to play the victim when you're the one causing the problems. None of us would be up your ass about this shit if y'all just did your fucking job. Which is why the companies can be like, hey, we're switching to AI to replace our localizers, and nobody really gives a fuck. They're all just like, okay. I mean, sucks to lose your job, but you weren't doing a very good one to begin with. It's the same hubris and egotism that has ruined a lot of Western entertainment. And it's been around almost as long as like every other problem culturally. And it all came in with like the early 2000s, 2010s stuff that happened. With anime, I don't know how long it's actually been going on. At least a decade, considering the Dragon Maid dub. That's gonna be my new joke: is just bringing up the Dragon Maid dub on everything whenever a localizer comes up. Dragon Maid dub. These people, there's no reasoning with them, because in their mind, they're the victim. They're the ones who are like truly doing great work. They're saving the world. They're making the dub better. They've improved it. They made it more acceptable. Yeah, well, the thing is, we anime fans, we like the fact that some of this stuff is unacceptable. We like the fact that some of this is different than what we get in the West, because I thought experiencing other cultures and other ways of thinking was supposed to be a good thing. I guarantee you, Leia Danakis, Leana Dakis, however you pronounce that name, would be the kind of person who talks about how diversity and multiculturalism is the strength of the West. but has a complete like fucking meltdown when one of those other cultures disagrees with their ideology. I think I think the woke shit of today was an overcorrection from the satanic panic of the 80s and 90s. You know, that might be something worth looking into. Because, I mean, we're seeing a lot of people swing back the other way now. As like an overcorrection to all this woke bullshit stuff we get, like and that's just how things go. It swings too far one way, people start going back towards the center, and it swings too far the other way. Sorry, I'm trying to cut those out as much as possible. So yeah, probably. I do think that, look, I grew up in a Christian home. I am a religious person myself. And I do think that a lot of the like satanic panic kind of stuff, the turn or burn things that happened were way overreactions and were just downright harmful to the message that those people were trying to push. Now, do I think every single one of them was coming at it with bad intentions? No, because some of my own family were like a part of that. And I know the reason they did it, and they've like since backed off and corrected course. I do not think that every single localizer or every single lib is out there doing it out of like malicious intent. But these localizers who make these changes definitely are. Like they have some sort of idea of snide they have like some sort of like snide agenda they want to push. They want to inflict their own ideologies on other people, just like a lot of writers and creators here in the West now. And it has affected everyone else in the industry. And that's the thing. Like a lot of the localizers who would be perfectly fine to have doing these translations, they're keeping their mouths shut because they don't want to get singled out by the psychos. My father would have flipped shit if he knew Mega 10 existed when I was younger. LMAO. Since I'm older, he can't say anything about me playing it. I don't think I know what Mega 10 is. Let me look that up. I'm probably about to get something. Images. I'm definitely not going to share this. Okay, so yeah, I see the game here. Angels, demons. Okay, yeah. I see what you're talking about here. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Look, Jay, I've told this story. I've even commented it on Weebs and Waifus. But when I was a kid, my mom was like hugely against Pokemon and all that stuff. But she caved. She threw me a Pokemon birthday party and all that, and I got a Pokemon toy, or like a Pikachu plushie. And then, like days later, she was tucking me into bed, and apparently, I told her that Pikachu told me that he wanted to kill her, and she took the plush and she burned it in the fireplace, and was completely against Pokemon for years and years and years to come. So yeah, I've been through some of that stuff. Now, there are like certain rules she has, considering I'm still living at home with my parents, but she has things she doesn't like in the house, and I respect that because I'm living under their roof. I'm paying rent. I'm working a full-time job and all that. I'm not some fucking loser living in a basement. I help out around the house. I do shit and all that. Kind of hard to believe considering I'm sitting right here streaming about anime with all my collection back here. But it's true. It's true. And I can prove it. But yeah, she's pretty relaxed about the Pokemon stuff, but it's like she doesn't like the idea of me or my brother playing Skyrim because it has like pentagrams and stuff in the enchanting table. She's still unnerved by it, but she's not as strict. Either way, I think there is some merit to that. The idea that a lot of this is overcorrection. I think another part of it is the like cultural Marxist aspect that leaked into our society. That started targeting specifically race stuff, like all the classes and dividing people. It was all about like how everyone's oppressed. There's that part too that has driven a lot of this swing to the far left. And I'm just sitting here like, can't we all just leave each other alone? Live and let live. Have fun. And with that, I'm going to stop the politics talk because I don't like my channel to be like the center seat of things that are way too complex to sit down and just give an answer on. So back to like just some final thoughts on the localizer thing. All things said, the localizers have pretty much given ammunition to companies to just boot them out entirely. They have put themselves in a bad light with anime fans. They have given the companies a chance to boot them out entirely and reduce their cost basis by using AI without having to face backlash from their customers. All I can say is you've done that to yourself, Anakin. But I think that's enough on the localizer front. I have one last thing to talk about tonight, and boy, it is a doozy. I have been looking forward to this. Like I'm not kidding. I am excited to bring this up. So we've got the Crunchyroll thing done. So let's copy this. One of the most popular shonen series is back from hiatus, or officially coming back. No, that's settings. I don't want that. We're going to share screen. And here we go. After nearly a year and a half, Ruri Dragon is finally ending its hiatus. So, for those who are, normies, Ruri Dragon is a series that is available through Shueisha Shonen Jump. You can find it on the Shonen Jump app. It has currently, I think, 5 chapters or 6. Either way, it was a very short-lived manga before it went on hiatus. However, in those 4 chapters, it proved in those 5 chapters, it proved exceedingly popular. So let's get into this. It has been a hot minute since the world was given an update on Ruri Dragon, but that is no longer the case. Back in 2020, the series got its start before Shonen Jump took the manga under its wing. Now, after 2 years of hiatus, it seems Ruri Dragon is ready to get back underway. Yes, you read that right. Ruri Dragon is ready to end its hiatus. The hit series confirmed as much when creator Masaki Shindo posted a long letter on social media. So here we go. I think there's a translation. So, For the inconvenience and concern of those readers who have waited for the series comeback, can I tell you something? I can tell you that 2 plus 2 is 4. For the inconvenience and concern of, for the inconvenience and concern of those readers who have waited for the series comeback for so long, I am very sorry. Shindo wrote. The artist went on to confirm they were ready to resume work on Ruri Dragon, and they will be adopting a somewhat unusual schedule for Shonen Jump titles. According to Shueisha, Ruri Dragon will be published digitally, and the new chapters will be released bi-weekly. Have a good one, JM. Thanks for chilling. The comeback will kick off. Bro, if you think you're the first person to come into my chat and be a weirdo or do something like that, I find you people funny, and people who come in here and do shit like that. It don't bother me. But if you do legitimately have a question, you're welcome to ask, and I'll answer to the best of my knowledge. But if you're trolling and just here to tell me to do inappropriate things, well, I will most likely just ignore you. So the comeback will kick off on April 22nd, and readers will be able to access new chapters on 2 platforms. They can either use Shonen Jump Plus to read the series or buy digital issues of Weekly Shonen Jump. Ruri Dragon will not be released in print any longer except for future volumes. As you can imagine, fans of Ruri Dragon are excited for the comeback, as it has been a long time coming. Can I talk about Jujutsu Kaisen? The only news is that the only news I think that's relevant right now is, well, one, there's manga stuff, and I'm not fully current on the manga, so I'm not in any educated place to speak on the manga. 2, the only news that's out there right now is that Jujutsu Kaisen won Anime of the Year. Now, if you ask me, I did a video about my top 10 anime from 2023. I thought Frieren was a better entry for that title. And if you want me to just talk about the overall quality of the series, well, I have a review of the anime up on my channel. And if you just want to skip that, I will just say that, yeah, I liked it. I enjoy Jujutsu Kaisen, but I do not think it is the greatest creation that is out there. That's really all I could say to you right now, because I don't have anything prepared to speak on Jujutsu Kaisen. I didn't really feel the need to talk about the anime awards because, well, it's Crunchyroll. It's Crunchyroll. So, back to where I was. As you can imagine, fans of Ruri Dragon are excited for the comeback, as it has been a long time coming. The manga went on official hiatus August of 2022, just a couple months after its release. Now, Ruri Dragon is ready to make a long awaited comeback as Shindo has taken time off to oversee their health. If you are not familiar with Ruri Dragon, the fantasy series is easy to catch up on. Manga Plus carries the manga in English, and there are 6 chapters available right now. So there is 6 chapters. Cool. So for those wanting to know more about Ruri Dragon, you can read its official synopsis below. I believe that's all that's there. Okay. Do you mean like top 10 of all time or top 10 of last year? Because I think that's an important distinction. I don't know if I'd be able to name my top 10 anime of all time. Mostly because I don't have all those spots filled out. But I will do something about that in the future. I will. Of all time, huh? Oh, I could give you my top 5. And my picks are very, very unusual. Especially the first 2. So, hold on. Let me. I'll put that away. I'm going to find something really quick. And I will get into that. Oops. So, here we go. All right. So my favorite anime that I have ever watched, or my favorite animes, I actually have a list of 6. So right now, I think in order would be Mushoku Tensei: Jobless Reincarnation, Love is War, Mob Psycho, Frieren, and then the top 2 are a little bit more personal. I have reasons for why they are my favorite, but ReZero and then Naruto. And the reason those will always be at the top is they're very specific. It doesn't generally have to do with like objective standards or quality or anything. It has to come down to actually I would probably place Attack on Titan between Frieren and ReZero. But yeah, those are my favorite anime. But like I said, I have unusual taste. It's kind of all over the board. And I'm going to get back into the Ruri Dragon stuff. So I have it here. So now we know that, look, I read Ruri Dragon. It is a good manga in and of itself. I don't think it does anything super fantastic. But it is like a really like interesting take on the whole slice of life thing. Finish off my drink there. Effectively, the idea of Ruri Dragon is that you have this chick who is half dragon, and right about the time she's starting high school, she sprouts horns and then starts experiencing all these other like supernatural things. Like during class, she sneezes and spits out a massive fireball by accident. And it's not like everyone's treating her like she's a freak show or like this is something really unusual. People are just like, oh, that's kind of cool. You could breathe fire. Oh, if you ask me what my favorite manga is, It's this one right here, Berserk. I love me some Berserk. Anyway, I need to stop getting distracted, okay? So if I don't respond to your questions, don't take it personally. I want to get through this subject a bit. So effectively, it's just like a chill slice of life story, one that you can sit and relax and watch. It's more wholesome anime stuff. I like it. But it was way, 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 way more popular than I had ever expected. And now I found while I was prepping for this, I found some very interesting numbers and some interesting information about its release. And I will bring that up now. I just got to copy the link over to my other tab here because I don't have this ready to go. So we're going to go over to Screen Rant. We're going to present, share screen. So this came out back when the series was debuting. And so Shonen Jump manga is threatening to overtake two classic series. And of course, we're talking about Ruri Dragon. So the Shonen Jump series Ruri Dragon is attracting the attention of manga fandom for all the right reasons. As despite its newness, it already is challenging some of the manga world's most famous titles like Dragon Ball Super and Jujutsu Kaisen in popularity. This new manga, which was created by first-time manga series author illustrator Masaoki Shindo, tells the story of Ruri Aoki, a normal Japanese junior high student whose world is turned upside down one morning when she wakes up to find two horns have sprouted from her head. She subsequently learns from her mom that she's half human, half fire-breathing dragon on her dad's side. The series plays on the classic coming-of-age story where, in addition to dealing with the social, familial, and biological changes teenagers experience, Ruri has the additional burden of dealing with her newly discovered dragon abilities, as well as the fact that everyone in the family seemed to know her dad was a dragon, but somehow never told her. The series has only published 5 chapters, but it has quickly risen to become a legitimate hit among current shonen titles. According to Manga Plus, a new website by Shonen Jump's publisher Shueisha, Ruri Dragon is currently its 8th hottest title, meaning the manga stalwart Dragon Ball Super and perhaps the hottest manga of the last 6 months, Jujutsu Kaisen. Or sorry, behind, I should say, not meaning. It is well ahead of recent hits like Dan Dan and Kaiju number 8. Shueisha knew early on that it might have a hit on its hands. After just 2 chapters, the series already surpassed more than 1 million views on the website. Come on, bring it up, bring it up. Oops. Look, sorry to hear about all that stuff happening to you, but thanks for coming by. I hope everything gets better. And look, when I feel down and stuff, whenever I'm hit with those like awful parts of life, music and just a nice, wholesome piece of fiction have been the way I've made it through. And that's all I can really say to you. Find something happy, upbeat. Don't drown yourself in the sorrow of it all. Don't push it away, but just find something you like if you need to get away from it. And I mean, right now, there are plenty of good things like that. But if you got to go, thanks for your time. I appreciate that you even showed up and chatted with me and interacted. So have a good one. So, further evidence for its popularity came last week with the announcement that the 6th chapter, which was expectedly, sorry, which was excuse me again, which was expected to be published in Shonen Jump number 33, did not show up on the scheduled publication list for the issue. This led to so much fan reaction that Masaoki Shindo uploaded a handwritten note to Twitter telling fans that he was having some time off due to illness, and that the series publication would begin again with Shonen Jump number 34. To fans' relief, Shindo stated that the manga was just beginning, and fans should prepare for a long run Ruri Dragon run. The story and premise might not strike readers as the sort of subject matter that can challenge Super Saiyan battling Super Saiyan's battering. Speak, Crimson, speak! The story and premise might not strike readers as the sort of subject matter that can challenge Super Saiyans battling overpowered celestial threats, or ancient sorcerers attempting to bring about the next step in the evolution of humanity. But Ruri Dragon is incredibly engaging. It touches on a number of timely subjects such as multiculturalism in an interesting and intellectual manner. Moreover, at present, there are so many ways Masaoki can take the story, including the traditional awkward teenager who develops into the savior of humanity model. In that event, the fact that it has nearly reached the same heights of popularity as Dragon Ball Super and Jujutsu Kaisen show that there is much for Shonen Jump to like about the manga. Only time will tell whether the publisher gives Ruri Dragon the room it needs to develop. I think they are going to fucking run with this one. So yeah, that's just on like surface level talk about all that stuff. We haven't even gotten into the nitty gritty of just how popular it is, but being able to compare it to Jujutsu Kaisen and Dragon Ball is insane. Like, that is a huge milestone to reach when it comes to publishing, or when it comes to a manga. So, yeah, this series is exceedingly popular, and I do agree with the assessment. I think it is a very, like I said earlier, I think it's a very interesting take on the slice of life, coming of age story kind of stuff. And look, it may not have like all of the like big like battle awesome epicness factor to it, but sometimes just having something to chill with, to just sit down and relax and read and not stress over, to just enjoy a nice chill chapter and escape from life. Sometimes that's all you need. Sometimes that's all you want. Which I think is the niche that Ruri Dragon is really fitting into. Plus, I think there's a whole legion of dudes who like the whole Monster Girl thing. So, why are Monster Girls so popular? Because the monster's on the outside. I have more to this subject, though, that I have to pull up here. Let me pull a new tab up. So this is the next piece of the popularity. I don't want to say puzzle, but this is the next piece of information that I have to work with here. And thanks to some random YouTube video, here we go. I was presented with okay. So This is a list of sales numbers for physical manga tankobon. Now, Boku no Hero Academia, number 36. It's My Hero Academia, number 36, sold 424,545 copies. Ruri Dragon, number 1, sold 74,000, beating out stuff like, I believe this is Blue Box, Mashal, and some other ones that I don't know, but 75,000 copies. And I'm going to bring up a little bit of a chart so that you understand how much of a big deal that is. Because it's kind of nutty once you put it into perspective. Copy. We will go over to the other part. Paste and go. And now I can share that. Present your screen. Another Reddit thread. Here we go. So this is a list of weekly Shonen Jump sales roundup. And I will show you here. So on our y-axis, x-axis, it's been a while since I did you. On the vertical axis, we have the actual number of copies sold. And on the horizontal axis, we have the week plus the number of days after it was published left in that week. So as you can see, week 1, it was published Monday. So there were 6 days that it was available for purchase that week. So My Hero Academia, volume 1, I think, sold like 140,000 copies. So a strong rebound for My Hero Academia in this volume, driving up past 600K again and continuing its bumpy trend. Yeah, My Hero Academia has been all over the place. So then we have Mashal, which here we have 4 days. It sold about 35,000. So if it would have been available for a full week, it probably would have been up over 40. Me and Roboco. This is a gag manga, another typical volume here. The usual sales figures. Next volume should be interesting as it will debut shortly before the anime adaptation. This one sold less than 10,000 copies. So here's Blue Box. Blue Box is a very popular sports manga, and it is closer to 70,000. And that big yellow part is the like initial release. So you see here, there's the chart. You have week 1. That's what this is. Week 2, week 3. Oh. And we're going to head down to Ruri Dragon for sales. And now its first like physical like volume had huge numbers week 1. 75,000 week 1, almost 120,000 copies in 4 weeks. Compare that to like other ongoing successful series. That's on par or close to on par with My Hero Academia levels of popularity. Which makes sense considering this is a series that Shonen Jump considers a challenger to Jujutsu Kaisen and Dragon Ball. Now, there are a couple of caveats here. This is a manga that has only 6 chapters. We don't know how the rest of it is going to play out. Now, that could be good or that could be bad. It could go in a really, really, really good direction and be one of the greatest things to ever, grace the slice of life genre and be just a really nice, chill thing. Or it could just absolutely shit the bed. That all remains to be seen. So, who knows? Who knows? Either way, this is one of the biggest, excuse me, this is one of the biggest returns when it comes to manga and anime that has come out lately. Like right alongside One Punch Man season 3. There's a lot of good stuff that we're getting. One Punch Man, we're going to be getting some actual like Berserk trailer here soon, or Berserk the Black Swordsman trailer here soon. We're going to eventually get Berserk itself. So Ruby Dragon, One Punch Man, those are the two things that I'm really looking forward to because I'm a fan of the manga. I decided to pick it up and read it because I'd heard a lot of like the tragic story of how it had to go on hiatus for close to 2 years. And now, come April, we will finally see it return. And I'm hoping that I can find some physical manga volumes for it because I have thoroughly enjoyed it. It's hilarious to me though that this like random manga about a chick with dragon powers has become an absolute behemoth in the industry. It's one of the things that I do really like about like manga and anime is that they're willing to experiment with a bunch of these very unusual premises. They're willing to take some risks and try things that are unusual and new, things that maybe wouldn't get a spotlight in Western media. Now, of course, we do have our own brand of weird. And I think a lot of that has kind of been normalized because, well, we're just used to seeing our own stuff. I bet if you went to Japan, their media probably isn't as unusual to them as maybe some of our stuff is. Like, look, imagine the initial reception to a character like Batman. Imagine trying to describe that one to someone. Yes, I have this character who dresses like a bat and beats up street thugs. Why? Because his parents were killed. Okay. Also, he has a sidekick who is a brightly dressed young boy named Robin. Good stuff, fun stuff. But it's exceedingly popular. And I mean, I guess that kind of like that was the like talking points of like the weirdness of Batman and how he was received when it came to Eric July and the Rippaverse's announcement of the Horseman, which I kind of look forward to. I have always liked the street level characters way more than characters like Superman or Green Lantern who deal with cosmic threats. Sorry about that. Getting a little stuffed up. I've been talking for so long. Also, his biggest antagonist is a clown. Yes, yes. Well, okay, so one of these days, I want to like get a bunch Pilgrim. I want to get a bunch of us together to just do a stream where we all just like sit down and talk like Batman shit. Because that's something I've been kicking around the idea of doing is just like setting up a stream to talk about a specific subject, whether it's Star Wars or whether it's Batman or other things. I kind of want to just do deep dive sessions, take an hour or so and get really into the problems, the wins, the downfalls of certain storylines or characters and all that. I think it would be fun. But I am still, kind of brainstorming a format and how I want to do all that and when I'm going to do all that. 'Cause now everyone's doing all their streams at all the times, and I never really have a convenient time slot to do things. Other than, this one on Saturday, which really isn't all that convenient, but it's the best I can manage right now with my work schedule. Either way, I have hit all of my big topics for tonight. I have hit everything that I really wanted to talk about, all the news, all that stuff, trailers. We're not ready to move into spring anime yet, so it's not like I can sit here and cover a bunch of trailers. I'm probably going to get inundated with them here soon. But the One Punch Man announcement is good. I did like that. And I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of catch up here when I am done with Attack on Titan. So I might take an entire stream to just do some random thoughts and all of that about everything that I have to watch, which is a lot. It's going to be Ragna Crimson. It's going to be the Ragna Crimson. There's Shy. There's Solo Leveling, Ninja Kamui, Unwanted Undead. 90% of the stuff that has come out this fall, I picked up at some point or another. Not all of it's good. I have had no motivation whatsoever to keep up with Chained Soldier. Just haven't. But with that said, I think I do need to call it. Because like I said, I'm out of topics. That's everything I can go over, and I'm here on my own doing my own thing. So to everyone who showed up and chilled out with us, to Pilgrim, who was here the whole time, to JM, who came in to talk about the localizers, to Shakita Lickert. Kind of a name is that? Probably some sort of Ben Dover kind of thing. To everyone, even if you didn't chat and you just sort of popped in to see what this was all about, thanks for the time. Thanks for giving me a shot. I really do appreciate it. I love doing stuff like this. I like interacting with people, having these conversations, covering the news, just being able to go over some of this stuff that I generally don't have time to make videos on because of work and other projects that I'm working on. So yeah, here's I would say cheers to you, but I'm out. I'm empty. And look forward to maybe some new stuff on the channel in the near future here, because there are some things I want to do. But with that said, I'm going to end the stream here right now. So thanks, really. I mean it. I love this stuff, and I like the people. I love the people who show up and comment on all of this. You're all great.